This was originally going to be one long video, but I decided to break it up into two parts. So the first part of this video will be, or this video will be the first part, and this video will be about the lawsuit and some other things that I'm late, some other news that I'm late catching up with. And then in the second video that I upload, I'll discuss the Christian Harloff situation and how that relates to Access Media and how Alita was affected by that. These thumbnails, or this thumbnail that you're looking at now, these images were brought to my attention by Mike T. So I got to give him credit on Twitter. There are other pictures as well. So if you see Mike T on Twitter, go ahead and give him a follow. And so um, what we have here is baby Alita. she's super cute. So anyway, just enjoy the video. Okay, I've been behind on a number of things. Haven't really been able to get a lot of time to make video. So I'm going to try to catch up on some things right now. First off, I'm going to start with the petition that is over 50,000. What do you call them? Supporters. Okay, 50,000, over 50,000 supporters. Maybe if we get like another cause that we could jump onto, like if we could find another event or whatever that we can use to promote the petition, we'll be able to get a lot more supporters again, like with what happened with the Game of Thrones fans. But of course, this isn't like going to guarantee us a sequel or anything like that. It's just a means of showing support, a means of showing uh, people like Cameron and Rodriguez and John Landau exactly how much support is out there, how many people is actually engaging in this, or have interest in this IP, and that's going to be very important when it comes time to, if they haven't already discussed the sequel with a studio, which is possible maybe they did it already, but it's going to be nice to be able to point to something and say, look, this is the support that we have. This is what fans are doing. So we got a promising new IP here. It's not like with Terminator or with Avatar, which is 10 years old, and Terminator is over, uh, well over, almost, is that almost 30 years by now, or is it just 20 something years? Whatever. It's old. Out of Cameron's big three, I guess I would count this as his big three. This is the newest. This is the one that has the most. Maybe not the most. Well, out of all of them, yeah, right now it has the most potential. Um, it may not ever be as good as the Terminator franchise, but it has the most potential right now. I'm talking about Alita. So, regardless of what happens with Terminator and Terminator Dark Fate and Avatar 2, I believe that Alita is going to be considered its own. I think it's in a bubble. I'm not one of those who believe that what happens with Terminator and Avatar affects what happens with Alita. When the question was asked to James Cameron and John Lando, and as far as I've heard from anybody else, that whether Alita got a sequel or not depended entirely on the interest or the response or the reaction by the fans. If people supported, if people showed up, then um, Alita would get a sequel. That's what we were told. So I'm holding them to that, and I truly believe that that's all they care about. So I honestly, and when you look at Avatar 2, you have what? How many? Five total movies planned. So that's like, I don't even know if those are tentatively scheduled. I think those are locked in. So this is a guy who's like, I'm Cameron. He's going. I don't care how Avatar 2 does. I'm making five movies. So that might be something to consider too. Is Cameron really that type of guy? And I think he is. So moving on to the next thing, we have the issue with Rancor after getting a response from Rancor CEO, and on why Alita had taken a nosedive in the rankings, and why there were so many downvotes mysteriously appearing, and she was being taken off a list and not being able to add it to lists. And he said that it's because of the way they had their site set up. They had measures or tools in place to make sure that polls couldn't be manipulated or intentionally um, messed with, so that movies would get ranked up higher than, I guess, what they thought was um, a reflection, a true reflection of what the popular belief was, I guess, if that makes any sense. But you have to consider this is supposed to be an opinion based site. If people vote, you can't control the way they vote. This is no different from um, election tampering, really. uh, and if ever you give people an opportunity to vote and they vote and they're not using bots, you can't you can't use your computer, your AI, or whatever was going on to add down votes or to take the movie off of lists and things like that. But that's what was happening. So um, I can't help but think that there was a bias. I don't think this would have happened with any other movie. If any other movie had shot up the rankings like that, especially Captain Marvel, they probably would have been yelling it from the treetops or the rooftops and celebrating her popularity. But since Alita was rising up these lists, these charts, um, they took action and they basically made her um, um, now what is persona non grata. I don't know if that's the right word for it, but they didn't seem to appreciate her becoming so popular on their list. And so it wasn't a natural thing. There was definitely a manipulation on the part of the website, and um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to move on now. The next thing I want to talk about is the lawsuit, and I'm getting to the stuff with Christian Harloff and all that in a minute. I just want to get these other things out the way first. So the lawsuit against Fox for the trademark of Battle Angel. Now, most of the not most a lot of media reported back in January that Fox was being hit with this lawsuit, this trademark lawsuit, and I wasn't too concerned about it because I knew immediately after looking at it they didn't have a leg to stand on, because regardless of what these people were doing with the Battle Angel trademark, um, this movie is an adaptation of the Battle Angel Alita anime and the manga. Now I know the manga is called Gunmu, but it's also called Battle Angel Alita, and this is an adaptation of that. So you can't trademark something that was already like what he tried to make the trademark in like 2010 or whatever. But Battle Angel Alita was something from the 90s, and this is an adaptation of that. So you can't, you know, you, that doesn't work. So I just knew immediately that it wasn't going to work. But so although we had the media covering this, that Fox was being hit with this lawsuit, what we don't have is the media coming out now and saying that the lawsuit has been dismissed. It has been dropped. And I was notified of this on Twitter by uh, Charger ST or Challenger. I'm sorry, I forgot. I just looked at your name. Sometimes I get it mixed up. I think it was Challenger ST. Yeah, I think that was right. Challenger ST. Sometimes I think Charger for some reason. But and it was one other person too. I'm sorry, I can't remember exactly who that was who reminded me of this. But it was dropped. Um, the person knew they didn't have a leg to stand on. You know, maybe they were planning to just try to get some money. They were hoping that what Cameron would do is settle, just give him a settlement and um, and just be done with it. But that's not what happened. And I think Cameron and the rest of those guys knew that they didn't have to do anything with this guy. This was just going to be an open and shut case. But um, there was also a website that I couldn't show you because I had to. They wanted me to subscribe in order to read the full article, but it showed this website showed what this Battle Angel, this company called Battle Angel, was actually selling, and it looked like a bunch of knockoffs. They had a Gundam knockoff, and then they had some other kind of dial, crazy looking dial. I couldn't really tell from the small picture that I was viewing, and I couldn't go to the website because it was just it was behind a subscription wall, and I wasn't about to subscribe. So uh, anyway, it's been thrown out. Here is the I don't know what you call this thing. The It's documentation or whatever that has been that here. I'll just read the first line. It appears the plaintiff has failed to timely serve the defendant in this case. The plaintiff filed its complaint on January 30, 2019. A plaintiff is responsible for serving the defendant with a summons and the complaint within 90 days of filing the complaint. Yeah, that's right. Federal, I'm not really sure what that means, so I'm going to skip past that. In this case, service was required by April 30, 2019. From a review of the record, it does not appear that the plaintiff has served the defendant with the summons and complaint. So, did I skip a line? Nope, I didn't. Okay, so unless service is waived, proof of service must be made to the court. If the plaintiff fails to properly serve the defendant within 90 days, the court, upon motion or its own initiative, after notice to the plaintiff, shall dismiss the action without prejudice, or direct that service to be effected within a specified time, provided that the plaintiff shows good cause for the failure. The court shall extend the time for service for an appropriate period. Now, I'm just going to put a link in the if not in the description, the comments, so that you can read all of this stuff yourself. So I don't have to go too far into that. Now I want to get to the stuff with Christian Herloff and and what happened with him.